The following is a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.
Drivers, start your engines. Pull those belts down tight one more time, warm up those tires, hit your marks, and let's go racing, boys and girls. NASCAR, Indycar, Formula 1, FormulaE, and NHRA Racing Talk. This is the Championship Racing Network. Now here is your host, Steve West and Matt Nicholson, with producer John Myers.
Hey, welcome into the show. Hope everything is going well. If you're in Alabama, it's raining on you.
Again.
Yeah, again. Now, that being said, and I get this, we're 7 days out and a lot can change. But the weather forecast right now for next weekend, looking good. And why is that important? Well, if you haven't been looking at the calendar, next weekend's Talladega.
Uh-huh.
We got a lot to get to. Speaking of Talladega, planning on having a visit from track president Brian Crichton some point in time during the show today. We'll keep you updated on that. When he comes in, we'll just change the entire format of the show, basically. But until then, let's get to what we do get to, and we'll recap last weekend. And we mentioned the top 10 of last Saturday morning's Formula E race here on the show last weekend, so we're going to skip that, get into Saturday night's Cup Series race at Martinsville. Historic on a couple of levels. First ever nighttime Cup Series race at the legendary short track. Secondly, Hendrick Motorsports becomes the first organization to lead 10,000 laps at any one facility, and they did so by dominating last Saturday night. William Byron led 212 of the 403 laps. Yeah, that means overtime.
Yeah.
His teammate Chase Elliott actually led the first 185. That being said, there was some drama. Can't get away from that. Byron seemed to be walking away with it when, you and I talked about this, when it was thrown, a questionable late race caution came out for a very harmless spin, closed the field up. Byron, Joey Logano start on the front row. Byron takes off when the green gets shown, becomes the first Cup driver to be able to claim multiple wins this season. He gets win number 2. Logano has to settle for second. Austin Dillon, Ryan Blaney, Ross Chastain, Kurt, then Kyle Busch, Eric Almirola, Chase Briscoe, and Chase Elliott make up your top 10. As noted, with now 2 wins, Byron's your leader in the clubhouse. 2 wins with single wins for drivers such as Ross Chastain, Alex Bowman, Chase Briscoe, Kyle Larson, Austin Cindric, and Denny Hamlin. Those that are in on points, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Martin Truex Jr., Eric Almirola, Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, Tyler Reddick, and Austin Dillon. Kurt Busch sits just on the outside, along with names that are still on the outside, like Daniel Suarez, Christopher Bell, Bubba Wallace, and Cole Custer. You and I talked about this. You said at some point in time during the day Saturday, you said, you know what? I'm going to try and make sure that I stay up, and I'm going to watch the Formula 1 race.
And I did.
You got it in, huh?
Yeah, I did. I paid the price for it on Sunday.
It was one of those things. I went to bed. I went to sleep right after the Martinsville race got done. And I don't know what it was, but I woke up at about 1:30. And I'm like, turned on the television, caught the last like 10, 15 laps of the Formula 1 race.
That's kind of similarities what I did. I fell straight asleep right after the Cup race. I fell asleep on the couch. But I just happened to wake up, and it was 12:55.
Yeah.
I think it was to get a drink of water because my nephew stayed with me last weekend.
Oh, okay.
And he slept on the couch. And anytime he sleeps on the couch, he wants me to, he said, will you sleep on the couch with me? Sure. I'm not going to tell him no. So I'm laying down, and I'm like, 12:55, click. And then when you hear that illustrious Sky Sports voice, from Melbourne, here from Australia, go time.
Yep.
And
it's on. Yeah.
I felt it Sunday morning.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, it was the Australian Grand Prix. Got it in for the first time since 2019. Again, early Sunday morning here in the U.S. Ferrari, they've had a strong start to the 2022 season, and that continued down under. As Charles Leclerc claimed the pole, led the most laps, claims the win, is second on the young season, cementing him as a very legitimate title contender.
Yeah.
Defending champion Max Verstappen had another bad day. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see you're torn up there, John. In front of a capacity crowd, 3 cars not able to finish, one of those being Verstappen. He had to retire his car on lap 38 of 58. Meantime, Leclerc had the car to beat. He led the most laps. He garnered the race's quickest lap as well. Sergio Perez was able to place the other Red Bull in second place. Then George Russell in his Williams, I'm sorry, I'm so used to him being in a Williams, and his Mercedes was third, actually beating out his teammate Sir Lewis Hamilton. And so far this season, George Russell, it could easily be argued, has outperformed Lewis Hamilton. It's certainly neck and neck at best for Sir Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask me, he's one step underneath Russell right now.
I would agree with that.
And it's crazy to say, but it's the truth.
I know. I still say he's going to get a win this year. Lando Norris was fifth, Daniel Ricciardo sixth, and that makes back-to-back McLaren finishes for them, which was nice for Daniel Ricciardo, seeing as it's his home track in Australia. Esteban Ocon, Valtteri Bottas, Pierre Gasly, Alex Albon round out your top 10. Haas twins had a bad day, 13th and 14th, respectively. Leclerc's out to a very large lead in the championship points, 71 to 37 over second place, get this, George Russell.
There we go.
Carlos Sainz is third with 33. Sergio Perez has 30. 28 for Sir Lewis Hamilton, sitting in fifth. 6th through 10th, Max Verstappen's got 25 based upon his win, and then 2 DNFs. 20 for Esteban Ocon, 16 for Lando Norris. Kevin Magnussen and Valtteri Bottas in a flat-footed tie in 10th with 12 each. Your updated Constructors' Cup standings, Ferrari's got 104, Mercedes 65. 55 for Red Bull, 24 for McLaren, Alpine 22, 13 for Alfa Romeo. Haas has dropped down to 12 points, and that would put them in 7th place. 8th, 9th, and 10th. 10 points for AlphaTauri. Williams got on the board with 1 point. And Aston Martin, big goose egg.
I can actually see it coming. It's not a matter of if, but when.
Mm-hmm.
For the first time in, 3 years probably?
Yeah.
Every team will have a point scored at least.
If Aston Martin can get their collective butts in the proper order. That's the question.
True.
Formula E got their second race of the weekend in on Sunday morning, U.S. time. Second race looking, well, quite a lot like the first. Jaguar TCS's Mitch Evans rolling to the win. He started fourth, bided his time, got a safety car that came out with 24 minutes and 1 lap left in the race. Evans, second behind pole sitter Jean-Eric Verne, saw his chance. When the racing resumed, Evans got by Verne on turn 4, led the rest of the way. Claims his second win of the weekend, third career win in the Rome E-Prix alone. Verne was second, trailed by Robin Freins, Andre Lauderer, Stoffel Van Dorn. Pascal Wehrlein, Oliver Turvey, Lucas deGrassi, Sebastian Buemi, and Dan Ticktum make up your top 10. Mercedes leading the team standings here. Jealous Formula One team? 94 to 85 over Tag Heuer Porsche. DS Techeetah, whatever, got 80. 78 for Rocket Venturi. Jaguar TCS with back-to-back wins, up to 73 points on the year so far. 68 points for Envision Virgin. Avalanche Andretti's got 28. Nissan Edam's 8. 7 for Neo F333. Mahindra's got 4. And ladies and gentlemen, yet to score a point, not Neo F33, but Dragon Penske. Get that. What's up with that? And that'll bring us into the third race of the season for the NTT Data IndyCar Series. We had 2 questions coming about. Number 1, can Team Penske go 3 for 3? And could Jimmy Johnson, who actually broke his hand in a practice crash, complete the race? The answers to both were actually yes. Joseph Newgarden claims the win, his first win in the Long Beach Grand Prix, second race win in a row this year, holding off former F1 driver Romain Grosjean, who was charging hard at the end, but ran out of laps. Newgarden said about it, quote, "This was a fight today. This was not an easy race to win. I was working my butt off with Grosjean at the end there and on the used Reds Firestone soft tires. I was trying to win a race here for 11 years, so I'm happy to be able to get it done." Alex Palou third, Will Power, Pato Award, Scott Dixon, Graham Rahal, Alexander Rossi, Elio Castroneves, and the rookie Kyle Kirkwood round out your top 10. Newgarden's got the series points lead, a slim 118 to 113 over Scott McLaughlin. He got the first race win of the year, you might remember, down in St. Pete. Mm-hmm. Alex Palou's got 103, Will Power 102. Then you drop down to Scott Dixon with 83. Romain Grosjean with 75. I hesitate to say he's a legitimate title contender, but I'd be shocked if Romain Grosjean doesn't get a win this year.
I would be too.
And that's saying something considering he went to Andretti Autosport, which had a big goose egg in wins last year.
And I've got a feeling it's going to be in a couple of weeks.
I think you might be right. Rinus VK 67, 66 for Marcus Ericsson, Pato Award 63. And with 60 in 10th, Graham Rahal. Rookie points, Christian Lundgaard continues to lead a busy rookie standings, 42-38 over Kyle Kirkwood. David Malukas, 34, Callum Elott, 32. Tied at 20, Tatiana Calderon, part-time, and Devlin DiFrancesco, who has not really had a good start to the year.
He has not.
This weekend, got a pared-down schedule. Camping World Truck Series will get it rolling at Bristol on dirt tonight. They're running the Pinty's Truck Race on dirt. Wow, great name. It's airing on Fox Sports 1 and MRN Radio. Starts 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central Time. Tomorrow, Cup Series running unusually. We'll get back to that on Easter. Taken to the dirt on Bristol for the Food City Dirt Race. Fox PRN Radio has the coverage starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central tomorrow night. All the other series, Xfinity, Formula 1, IndyCar, NHRA, FormulaE, all that are in season that we cover on a regular basis, they're all off. So there you go.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, the track president of Talladega Superspeedway's in studio. We'll take an early break, and when we come back, we'll talk all things Talladega, which happens next weekend. You're listening to CRN.
We will be right back with more on the Championship Racing Network.
Bonnaroo Music and Arts Festival returns to the farm. Join us this summer, June 16th through 19th in Manchester, Tennessee, to see Tool.
Two tires only, and back out to the track for more action on the Championship Racing Network.
Hey, welcome back in. Appreciate you joining us. I'm Steve West, along with Matt Nicholson, producer John Myers, and also in studio, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to CRN. I think this is the first time for you.
No, I was on it last October. This is the first time.
First time in this studio. That's right.
Yeah,
okay.
There we go.
That's right. Yeah. Track president Brian Crichton, Talladega Superspeedway, otherwise known as our boss.
No, all teammates. We're all teammates together.
Yeah. I mean, I use the term boss very loosely. I mean, the good thing about it is that, well, yes, you've got the track president name. We're friends.
Yeah,
just as easily. So it's not like I have to walk around on eggshells and going, my God, did I say the wrong thing around the track president? Oh my God, am I going to get fired? That's my job. That's John's job, yes. Now, that being said, I got to watch what I say over at PA.
We're always listening.
All right, so we go from dirt this week and a half-mile track to the biggest track, the baddest track in NASCAR, the fastest track in NASCAR by and large. That being said, we have a little bit of an unknown. We saw the new cars, the Gen 7 stock cars at Daytona, our sister track, but we really haven't seen them at Talladega.
We haven't. Yeah, you know, I mean, they did a tire test out at Talladega, but it was just a couple cars on track.
Right.
So we haven't seen them running in the pack that they're going to be running in on Sunday. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Daytona is a good litmus test for us to see that. And then also, too, they ran the Super Speedway package over the new configuration of Atlanta. So it was a great race over there, a lot of exciting stuff. Yeah. I know it's obviously a lot smaller. It's only 1.5 miles, only 29 degrees. It's not the biggest, the baddest, and the fastest racetrack on the planet.
You're right about that.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's that super speedway package that we're excited about.
Matt and I went over there. We went there for the Saturday doubleheader between the Truck Series and the Xfinity, and they did do a nice job. We'll give them a lot of credit. It seems so odd, though, because in watching the race, it did do what they wanted it to do. They put the Speedway rules package over there, and it closed up the pack, and it did make the racing at Atlanta a little bit more exciting. But I'm sorry, folks. You just ain't going to get what you got at Talladega.
No, not even close.
There's no place on the earth like Talladega.
No, I've said this. I've said this on so many occasions, and one of the other things that separates Talladega out from just about everybody else, with the possible exception of Phoenix, is the placement of the start-finish line.
Yep.
You know, we don't have that finish line dead middle in the middle of the tri-oval like there is at Daytona. You got to go through the tri-oval and go down past it, and there have been I've been doing this since fall of 2007 up top.
Right.
And I think just about every single race there for the Cup Series and for most of the other series, truth be told, I can honestly say that the leader going through the tri-oval wasn't the leader at the start-finish line.
Yeah.
There have been several races I've been to that's very much been the case.
Yeah,
all the way from ARCA, IROC, Trucks, Cup, Xfinity.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah, that quarter-mile difference
Makes
from
a
that
huge
tri-oval
difference.
down to where we are, our start-finish line down there, it makes a huge difference. And Bill France Sr., I mean, he had the vision he wanted to put it down there because he wanted to see that finish. He wanted all the fans in the stands to be able to see that finish coming by him. So he didn't want to stop it halfway through the grandstands. He wanted to put it there at the end. Genius.
I think it was too.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Absolutely.
It was amazing. And again,
such a visionary.
You know, every track has something that they have that tries to separate themselves out, and then you look at Talladega and go, it's the biggest, it's the fastest, it's the baddest, it's got the start-finish line placement, and we can sit there and start going off on a list and we got this, you don't, we got this, you don't, we got this, you don't.
we have Talladega Boulevard, you don't.
That's true. Big one on the Boulevard makes a comeback.
Yes, absolutely. Friday night, we're excited about it. So it's we put a vote out to the fans to pick the games, and we're excited about the games that are coming back.
This is going to be good.
Picked the games.
The fans picked the games,
All right.
and we're going back.
We're going to get back to that.
Okay,
so everything really is about to start, and I'm going to use the term for us because we're all one big family at Talladega.
Yeah,
it's really going to start on Monday.
Yeah, it does.
You start swinging open the doors.
We do. Yep. Gates open for all of our outside campgrounds Monday morning. We already have 5 RVs that are stacked out there on Speedway Boulevard waiting to get in. They actually showed up on Thursday.
I love it.
Yeah.
I used to always laugh so hard on Saturday nights, the weekend before the race. We'd be going down the boulevard, headed to the short track with cars in tow. It'd be 3 or 4 of us. And we'd look. And every single time when my granddad would ride with us, he'd go, they just can't stand it, can they? I'm going, nope. Gotta get out there and get out there early.
And I think there's some prestige to some people that says, I was first. I was first in the campground.
Oh, absolutely.
There's prestige. There's the excitement.
Sure.
But it's also picking that spot. Because you watch them, they rush up the hill and they get like close to one of the flagpoles.
What's that, North Campground? They go straight to the hill.
That's right. So they can tell their buddies, we're under the green flag. Sure. And so what we do is halfway through the week, we start changing flags around.
That's not a bad idea.
It's not actually
a bad idea at all.
Russell taught you that one, didn't he?
He did what?
Russell taught you that move, didn't he?
No, he didn't. No. Russell gets too much credit for things.
You heard it here first, Russell.
I knew you were listening, Russell.
So you go through that, but you're not opening up the infield for a while. We're talking about the outside campgrounds, the north and the south campgrounds. When does the infield open up?
Yeah, infield opens up Wednesday morning.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of setup still, a lot of things that we've got to do, for that infield area. So we let those fans come in on Wednesday morning. But what happens is a lot of our infielders actually go to the North Park or South Park or some of our free campgrounds, and they'll camp there until Wednesday morning, and then they'll move over and come into the infield.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we get ready.
Smart.
We get ready for haulers.
Haulers will come in Friday morning, 11 o'clock. We load garages in, so there'll be a on-site hauler parade where we'll bring them into the infield that morning, and then they'll load up the cup garages and racetrack action that afternoon.
And for this year, you just mentioned it, for the first time in a couple of years since COVID hit, we've got Friday action on the track.
We do, yes.
What can we expect?
We've got ARCA practice qualifying, and we've got the Xfinity cars on track as well. So they're practicing too. So it's we've got cars on track again. I'm gonna love the sound. We're opening up our display on Friday as well. That's something that hasn't happened since COVID either. So our display, we've got almost 30 different displays that are going to be out there. We're doing something called Trackside Live. So if you guys remember the old Speed channel where Trackside Live was out there. So we're going to have a stage, and we're going to have content on that stage throughout as well.
Nice.
So there's going to be some music, there's going to be drivers, there's going to be just content throughout the weekend out there too. So got a kids zone out there. So a lot of stuff that's going on. We're excited to be back to 100%.
Absolutely.
At Talladega.
Mentioned 100%. We'll get back to the garage here in just a moment, but let's talk about that big one on the boulevard since we made it to Friday night.
All right.
We've been there. We've done it. We've seen it. It gets wild.
It does. It gets wild. In a very fun way.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, absolutely it does. It's I call it a Mardi Gras style parade that comes down Talladega Boulevard. Bunch of drivers on the float. They're throwing out swag, whether it's T-shirts or koozies or beads maybe here or there, or, the other things that they're tossing out to the fans. And then they kind of loop around, and we've got a place where they're on our infield road course, and they set up there, and then there's games that happen in front of them, and that's right by the Boulevard Bar. Right there at the intersection of Talladega Boulevard and East Tobacco Boulevard, the epicenter of the party. So the games, as I mentioned earlier, we put it out on social and let our fans pick them, and they went old school. So we are going back to the one that started it all. Barbecue Sauce Wrestling is back. OSIT's back. So there's a bunch of different games. They're games that we have done in the past, and so we as we're bringing it back, we wanted to kind of just go back to the history of it all, and I'm excited about Barbecue Sauce Wrestling. So
I think the last time when you and I were down there, we was standing right there at the stage with it was us,
Clint Boyer was out there,
Corey LaJoy, Ryan Blaney, Daniel Hemrick, and a ton of others.
There's
a ton of others,
several others.
One of those games started, and I don't think I've ever seen Russell Branham's eyes get so big because he seen where it was going. They had to stop it.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to leave it at right there.
Yeah, we'll just leave it at that.
Just leave it at that right there. Use your imagination.
Yeah,
it got rough.
They get fun. They get wild.
It got rough.
Yeah. Welcome to Talladega on a Friday night. It's a party. There's no doubt about it.
What happens on the boulevard?
Stays there.
On the boulevard.
That's why we stopped right where we stopped.
Exactly. That's why we stopped.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Then you got Saturday. Everything will get going fairly early in the morning. Actually.
Yeah. I mean, we're saying doubleheader, but I'm actually thinking it's a triple header because we got Cup qualifying. We got Cup qualifying. For the first time. Back as well.
Yeah.
First time you'll see the next gen cars on track at Talladega too. So we're excited about that. Then of course we've got the General Tire 200, the ARCA Menard Series. And then after that, the Ag Pro 300 with the Xfinity Cup or Xfinity cars.
Yep. And we've got the return of the Infield concert on Saturday night with a hometown guy performing.
Yes, absolutely. Riley Green. Riley Green is coming back. So he was our artist back in October of 2019. He and his dad camped in the infield before. I mean, a lot of times. Excellent. I mean, this is something that as he was growing up, he was doing. So, he did a couple different things for NASCAR. And so we just, kind of stayed in touch, and it worked out. It worked out to bring him back. And, we've got people just excited about him coming back too.
Excellent.
So,
And what do they need to do to be able to get in there?
So any infielder has access. It's a free concert. There's no additional gate charge for any of the infielders. And then if you have a Sunday ticket, You also have access into the infield after the Saturday activity concludes. So Sunday ticket holders and infielders, free concert on Saturday night with Riley Green.
And, of course, Geico 500 on Sunday for the Cup Series. And we'll that ought to be a fun race. It really should.
Yep.
I mean, based upon what we saw at Daytona, and again, we can't translate everything that we saw at Daytona because there's a lot of personality differences between Daytona and Talladega. I mean,
For sure.
they may be sister tracks, but there are differences out there.
For sure.
There's no doubt about it. It's a little bit narrower at Daytona. Talladega allows for a little bit wider. Read 3 wide. A lot.
Sometimes 4.
Sometimes 4. We've seen 5. It's a mistake, but we've seen 5. Don't do it for long. But yeah, it's going to be a fun race. So tickets are available?
Tickets are available. Yep. You can go to our website, TalladegaSuperspeedway.com or 877-GO-TO-DEGA if you would like to talk to a representative. But we might have a infield camping spot or 2 left. But yesterday when I left the building, we were down to under 10.
See, that's what I was going to ask.
Still a couple that, that are in there. So if you want infield camping, get it today. And then we do have tickets available for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
That being said, Sunday has been a hot ticket, even through COVID. I mean, the first year back in 2020, we had limited sales tickets, but we still were able to sell some tickets even during COVID. Those went quickly. And when we were able to open up the grandstands last year, that sold out pretty fast. I would imagine we're probably racking that up pretty good too.
Yeah, so what we're doing right now is we're comparing ourselves to 2019 because that was the last real spring race that we had.
Sure.
And we are up in our consumer sales almost 15%.
Okay.
So that shows you just what the demand is out there, for tickets. And as you mentioned, in June of 2020, we were the first to really have fans back in the stands. Those 5,000 tickets that we were allowed to sell and kind of build that COVID foundation, we sold those out. And then October we had limited, sold those out as well. And so it continues to grow, continues to climb. It's going to be a big weekend at Talladega.
I want to go with this because we had the chance to talk. I had the chance to talk to you earlier on this week at my other job. And you mentioned something that I don't think a whole lot of people actually do realize. Talladega, we love it. It has a great reputation as a party and a fun place to be. And it's almost a got to go to place in the state of Alabama during the 2 race weekends. Mm-hmm. It's not just Alabamians that come here. Talladega's well known far and wide.
Yes. We are a worldwide brand. Talladega Superspeedway is. We will have 70% of our fans, over 70%, 71 plus actually, 71% come from outside the state of Alabama.
Think about that for a minute.
Just driving in all that clean tourism dollars into our local economies and our local markets.
Yeah.
We'll have all 50 states are represented, and then we'll have 25 to 28 different countries.
That is crazy.
That come out to Talladega.
That is crazy to even imagine.
Yeah. I know. But it's so cool.
They're coming from Australia, New Zealand. I mean, they're coming from all over the world, obviously.
Sure.
And it's, it's a huge thing for us.
And I know that this is 2 entirely different forms of racing, but you think about past Talladega, we've got IndyCar coming to Barber Motorsports Park the very next weekend.
Yes.
And there are some people that I think in the first couple of years, especially before Roger Penske ended up buying out Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the IndyCar series, I think most people, and we were included in that here on the show, that it seemed like NASCAR and IndyCar never could seem to get along. But now that Roger Penske's in there, it seems like the 2 sides get along better. We've got the doubleheader weekend that happens at Indianapolis where NASCAR and IndyCar run on the same weekend. How good is the relationship between Talladega and Barber Motorsports Park?
It's great. And, in my philosophy and my mentality is high tides raise all boats. So
sure.
The short track, too. We work very closely with Adam Stewart over at the Talladega short track because, again, it's motorsports.
Right.
And if we can create motorsports fans, then hopefully they will, go to all 3 of us.
Yeah.
And so that's, we work very closely with them. If they need something, we used to loan them trams. I think since then they bought the trams, but, we work very closely with Barber Motorsports Park and, as you said, NASCAR and IndyCar working closer together as well with that Penske relationship too. So the sanctioning bodies too, even outside of our local area, they have that same mentality that, everybody's working together. Because that's the way we're going to continue to lift and grow motorsports.
Right. And the reason I bring that up is because what I'm kind of expecting is that a lot of people are spending their week at Talladega, but there are probably some people that maybe even took 2 weeks off or at least took the week between Talladega and Barber, and they're going to have we're going to have our own Alabama Speed Weeks, and they're going to spend their time here in the state of Alabama going from the Talladega race to the Barber Motorsports Park race. And you think about that and the injection You mentioned it, the tax dollars, the tourism dollars that are coming into the state and the area. It's huge, and I don't think many people realize that. I mean, politically, everyone's been talking about how they want to get gambling or they want to get a lottery in and how much tax dollars go to Tennessee or Georgia or Mississippi or Florida. You don't understand what we do have here in Talladega. You don't understand what we do have here in Barber Motorsports Park.
Yeah, I mean, within what, a 28, 30-mile stretch, you got 2 gym facilities.
Absolutely. World class.
And it's like a dream.
Yeah.
You know, I told somebody that the other day. I said, well, how did they word it? It said something about Talladega and Barber being so close. They asked me, they said, do you think there ever one day could be a race at each place back-to-back? I said, slim chance. I said, because the facilities work so close together.
Yeah.
Especially with speed weeks.
Sure.
What we call speed weeks. And they're like, oh, well, only one can dream. Go, well, yeah, only one can dream. There's nothing I'd love to see more than an IndyCar blazing at 250 around Talladega. Well, we know that'll never happen.
No, it won't. But that being said, we wouldn't mind to see Lee Diffie do a race call at Talladega.
Oh, my gosh.
That would be fun. See, I mean, one of my thoughts was, and this was shot down pretty quickly, but they do about 20 laps at Talladega. Then they jump out onto I-20. They scream down I-20 to Barber Motorsports Park.
I like where he's going.
I like where he's going, too.
I like where you're going
20
with
laps
this.
around Barber, and then scream back down I-20 back to Talladega Superspeedway where they finish it off.
I just want to see NBC.
That's stage racing, right?
Absolutely.
Very
I think it'd be great.
I just want to see NBC do a crew swap. Have Rick Allen and that team do Barber. Have Lee Diffie and Townsend Bell and Paul Tracy come do Talladega. Because nothing I'd love to see more is Lee Diffie on the boulevard at night on Friday night.
Oh, absolutely. Can you imagine Lee Diffie doing the big one on the boulevard?
Ooh.
Barbecue sauce wrestling?
Hey, come on. Could be in the fall. We'll have to bring it back.
Yeah, there you go. We'll have him be the announcer or the referee.
My goodness.
Or a wrestler.
Oh, man, it's even getting better. That's good stuff. I love it. So, basically, let's get back to Talladega, though. So, everything that we've got going on, and, you know, we've talked about this. Everything is back open now, and that means that we're not limited as far as campgrounds are concerned. We're not limited as far as going into the infield area, Big Bill's Garage, and being able to do that over the course of race weekend.
That's right. Yeah, the Talladega Garage experience is back open, and it's going to be open on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're actually working in our local communities, and we've got a Kids Day on Friday. So we have I think it's about 750 students from the area that are coming out. They're fourth graders doing kind of a STEM program with us during the October race. It's seventh graders, and they are doing a STEM program, but it's standardized testing time this time of year.
Right.
So anyways, so the fourth graders are coming out. It's more of a kids' fun day out there. And so, you know, with the Cup cars loading in that day, they're going to be able to see the cars load in. We've got great programming for them as well. So we'll be open on Friday at Talladega Garage Experience. Saturday, of course, with Cup qualifying. It's going to be a great day inside of Talladega Garage Experience. As you mentioned, Big Bill Social Club, 41-foot diagonal screen, top 22 cars garage right in that area. So you're able to walk, you know, right into the garages. And the only thing that separates you is about 5 feet from the nose of the car and about a 4-foot high fence. So no walls, no windows. You're under the same roof as the teams, the cars, the crews, everything. So it's great.
Understand they're working. So, I mean, you may want to talk to them, but, you know, they are working, but they'll give you time if they've got it.
They absolutely will. And that's what we saw back in October of 2019 when we first opened it up is yes, they're absolutely working. You know, that's their clubhouse. That's their, the behind the scenes. But when they're done, they do approach the fence and they do talk to fans, you know, especially kids. When the kids are there, they really get that and they walk up and they talk to the kids. But we also have Victory Lane as part of Talladega Garage Experience. We have a stage there where we do question and answer sessions. So we have a great lineup of drivers and, you know, others from the industry that are coming out for question and answer sessions. There's a kids zone, game zone, and then we have value price concessions.
I was about to ask you about that because that separates out. I mean, again, we were over at Atlanta. Nice facility. Concessions aren't the cheapest in the world. No. Just going to say it. Lay it out there right now. Talladega, reasonable. Yeah, we do. So for the Talladega Garage Experience, we do have our value price concessions. So we have $2 bottles of water, $2 Coke products, $2 hot dogs, $4 chicken fingers and fry platters or cheeseburger and fry platters, $4 16-ounce beers. So a lot of people are double fisting those. Sure. But it's it's something that when we opened it up, we wanted to start off, you know, with that as kind of the baseline. Sure. We want a family of four to be able to come in and, you know, be able to eat, you know, and affordably. For sure. So, you know, I went down to a park down in Florida and I spent over $90 for my family of four for lunch
and the pizza wasn't really good. But this, so it's something that we just heard rave reviews about, and so it's something that's great. And then in our grandstands, everybody can bring in a 14 by 14 by 14 cooler, with your favorite drinks, your favorite, food, whatever you want, as long as it's not in glass.
There you go.
So another way that we're trying to make it affordable for the fans that are coming out is that they can bring their own food, their own beverage into the grandstands, which you can't do that at major league ballparks,
That's
football stadiums, or anything else. So.
Yep. Wow, we've become a sports mecca all of a sudden in this area. I mean, we just mentioned it. We've got Talladega coming up next weekend. We've got Indycar coming in the weekend after that. USFL football, which all of the teams are here in Alabama. That starts off this weekend. Good grief. Welcome to the sports capital of the world. We are it for the next 3 weeks.
And the World Games.
And the World Games coming up in
July, I think.
About 82 days, I think now.
Yeah.
So, we're the sports capital of the world, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to it.
I agree. And, there's football that happens somewhere around here, too, at some point.
At some point, There's always football.
Always is.
Brian, we're looking forward to it. How can they get tickets if they want them?
Sure, go to our website, and you can see all the different special options that we have out there. We start at $45 on Saturday. Kids are free.
That's the important part.
Yep, kids are free on Saturday.
12 and under are free.
That's right, 12 and under are free. Sunday, we start at $65, and kids are only $10. So, still have great programs for the families. We have military programs. We have first responder programs. We have educator programs. So go to our website, and you can kind of see all those different programs that we have, all the options, Talladega Garage Experience. We also have kid pricing in the Talladega Garage Experience as well. So TalladagaSuperspeedway.com, or if you prefer to talk to a representative, you can always call 877-GO-2. That's the number 2, DEGA. 877-GO-2-DEGA.
All right. 2 other things. Found out that the Talladega Walk of Fame making a comeback this year.
Yes, I'm so glad you brought that up. So Friday night, it's going to happen down in the Talladega Square. So the Talladega Walk of Fame at Davey Allison Memorial Park hasn't inducted anybody since 2013. We worked very closely with City Manager Cedric Hill, as well as the Mayor Tim Ragland, and a great group down there to reinvigorate it all. So they've done a masterful job of cleaning it up, getting it all ready, and they're going to be inducting Clint Boyer into the Talladega Walk of Fame. So you want to talk about a fun night? It's going to be a fun night.
It's going to be. I hear that there's a couple of Talladega PA announcers that may be involved in that.
I've heard that rumor as well.
Just going to leave that right there. What time does that all start?
It's going to start at, I think it's 5 o'clock down there. And then they're going to have, it's basically a festival too. It's not just the induction ceremony. So they're going to have food trucks, and the Talladega Marching Band is going to be there. They've got music. They've got just, they're building this festival around it, which is wonderful, because it just shows of, our local communities that are embracing NASCAR coming in. And the city of Oxford is doing the same thing. So they're going to fly over 100 NASCAR flags around the city of Oxford.
Nice.
Welcome back. We were trying to work on a hauler parade, but unfortunately that early load-in on Friday morning just wasn't conducive for us to do a hauler parade. But look for that in October. So we're looking to do a hauler parade that's going to start over in this area and kind of weave its way through and come over to Talladega. So just looking to continue to build the support in our local communities as well.
And I want to mention this because it does seem kind of, in some ways, to kind of get the short shrift with the advent of the NASCAR Hall of Fame and the Motorsports Hall of Fame moving down to Daytona and becoming much more prominent in their celebration. But the International Motorsports Hall of Fame on the grounds at Talladega Superspeedway. If you haven't been there in a long time, you're missing out.
It's a great facility. So they're doing some different special things through the weekend as well. So I think they have a concert on Thursday night with the Velcro Pygmies. Coming in on Thursday night and doing a concert there. And then, just the displays that they have, they're doing a good job of reinvigorating and refreshing some of the items that are over there.
So here's the thing. Get out there early, read Thursday, and you go all the way through Sunday. And really, you won't have to go much more than about, 15 miles away? Tops. It's not even that far to get to Talladega.
Yeah, give or take.
Yeah, it's not even that far to go to the Talladega Walk of Fame induction.
But there's so much more around as well.
Exactly.
I mean, go to the top of Mount Cheehaw.
There you go.
The highest point in Alabama.
Absolutely.
There's so many wonderful things that this East region has to offer, and that's one of the things we're trying to educate our fans on too. So don't just come in on a Friday.
No.
Come in on Thursday or Wednesday, or stay until Tuesday.
There you go.
That way you can take in all the wonderful things that this area has to offer.
We love it. Don't forget the phone numbers. Don't forget the website, TalladegaSuperspeedway.com, 1-877-GO, the number 2, go to Dega. Get those tickets now. They're going to go quick, especially for Sunday and, quite frankly, Saturday, too, especially when you're talking about kids being able to get in for free.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get those tickets now, and tickets still available for the Garage Experience.
Tickets still available for Garage Experience as well. Yes, so they're filling up fast, but yes, they are available.
Get them now.
Get them now.
Get them now, and we'll be ready to go racing come this weekend. On-track action starts on Friday.
Friday, we're going to hear the roar of the engines again. Display is going to be open. We're excited about it.
Full midway,
been
too?
Full midway, yep, absolutely. Over 15 merchandise haulers for the drivers will be out in the midway. We got about 30 displays that are out there. So it's going to be I can't tell you how excited I am to be somewhat back to normal. You know, I mean, ever since I've taken over in October of 2020.
I was about to say, you came in at an odd time.
That's right. Yeah, the world changed.
You got one normal race and then COVID.
That's right, COVID. But the team out there at Talladega Superspeedway is just unbelievable. And so
hey, I'll vouch for that.
Yeah,
I will too.
I'll vouch for that.
Yeah,
I will too.
They've been through a lot. They've kept their head down. They keep digging, and we're one of those premier stops on the circuit because of them. So
all right.
It's a wonderful, wonderful place.
Happy to be back to something called almost normal.
Almost normal.
All right, Brian. Thank you so
there.
much. Make the phone call. Go visit the website. Get those tickets now. We'll see you next week out at Talladega Superspeedway. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having
I'll
me.
see you on
Appreciate
Thursday.
it, and thank you for all you guys do for the sport of Talladega and motorsports.
Happy to do it. Happy to do it. We'll be right back right here on CRN.
We're back to the Championship Racing Network.
Hey, welcome back into the show. I'm Steve West along with Matt Nicholson and producer John Myers. Thanks again to track president Brian Crichton of Talladega Superspeedway. Again, get those tickets. If you haven't already gotten them, get your tickets now. Love to hear the fact that there are already a handful and growing of RVs that are stacked up and racked, ready to go. Won't be able to get in until Monday, but you know what? They're going to have a good time.
No doubt.
I can guarantee it.
No doubt.
Speaking of having a good time, hopefully your house is having a good time. But if it's not, we know the person that you need to talk to, thanks to our good friends at Ox Foundation Solutions and Michael Hart. If your house is not having a party, in other words, maybe you got a problem with the foundation. Maybe you don't. You may not be totally certain. This is where Michael Hart comes in. You have Michael Hart come out. Give him a call, 205-362-6419, or send him an email, mike@oxfoundations.com. Set up the appointment, have him come out at no cost to you if you're anywhere in the state of Alabama, at no obligation to you, again, if you're anywhere within the state of Alabama, and he can give you a written foundation assessment. He's going to tell you whether there is something going on with your house. Because if you feel like maybe the floors are uneven or you're having problems opening or shutting doors or windows, things like that, maybe you're just outside. We've all probably by now at least done some yard work, if not an outright mow. I've mowed my yard twice, actually. And you've noticed cracks in the bricks or something to that effect. Again, it's not a guarantee that you have a problem with your foundation, but it is a signal that there might be a problem. Contact Michael Hart. Make sure about it. If there's nothing wrong, he'll put it in writing. Nothing's wrong with the house. Hand it to you, shake hands with you, and he's going to go off, and you'll go off, and you'll do your separate things, and that's that. But if there is something wrong, he'll sit down with you, explain it as he's written it down, give you the written estimate of how much it's going to cost. And then you go, but you know what? I heard it on CRN.
Yep.
And I got this promo code called WEST, W-E-S-T. Boom, he takes 15% off that amount. You got nothing to lose. 205-362-6419 or mike@oxfoundations.com. Ox Foundation Solutions. Ox Strong. Make sure that your house is as well. And tell them you heard about it right here on CRN. All right. We haven't kicked off with IndyCar in quite a while. So we're going to. Mainly because when you get a 7-time Cup Series champion, Jimmy Johnson, who admittedly has struggled in his short time in IndyCar, coming off, though, his first top 10 in IndyCar history. His, anyway. And then he struggles to a 20th place result in Long Beach, 12 laps down, due at least in part to that fracture in his right hand. It does become big news because Jimmy Johnson had surgery Monday night in Charlotte, North Carolina to repair the brake quicker. He says, he's asserting he will not miss any time.
Running an IndyCar on a road course with a screw in your hand, you can't tell me that's not painful.
It's got to be, doesn't it?
Unless you've got a steroid shot like you've never had before in your life to kill the pain, or a nerve block.
I like watching just about any form of racing.
Right.
Okay. Here's what IndyCar does, and I'm going to say this. Might be a slightly controversial thing. Here's what IndyCar does, truth be told, better than Formula One. Oh, no. The Formula One and IndyCar both run road and street courses.
Yeah.
But if the Formula One road and street course isn't glass smooth, they pitch a holy fit. Have you watched them run at St. Petersburg? Did you watch them run and watch some of the in-car camera shots from Long Beach? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you, far from glass smooth. So when you get those bumps at the speeds that they're running, watch them. I mean, we call it in NASCAR sawing on the wheel. I mean, they're constantly adjusting here. All of those little itty-bitty movements, and then you got 90-degree turns or hairpin curves.
Yeah.
And the amount of torque and force that puts on a hand. Think about that for a couple of minutes, and then realize Jimmy Johnson ran that entire race with a broken right hand.
If I had to guess of how he was managing it the best that he could. Broken right hand corners. He's going over the top using dominant left hand force, taking hand pressure off of his right hand to minimize pain.
You imagine how sore that left hand was after the end of that?
Oh, yeah, I imagine it was sore. If I had to guess, left hand turns, He's pulling down on the wheel, using his right hand to balance the wheel.
There you go.
Just letting it glide on there.
All of that before he had surgery to set it to get it to repair itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, he garnered respect points with me on that one.
There you go.
That's all I'll say about that.
I was wondering whether John would get a little bit of respect or at least a modicum of sympathy.
Yeah.
No sympathy, just a little bit of respect.
Yeah.
He posted on social media before the surgery, quote, "From Long Beach to the operating room. Good news. I plan on being ready for the IMS test in 9 days and at Barber on May 1st. Thanks to all the medical staff involved. Testing for the Indy 500 is actually set for this coming Wednesday and Thursday. And then, as we noted, turns his attention to our backyard Barber Motorsports Park racing the first weekend in May. Johnson has, in his time at top-level racing, actually only missed one race between Cup and IndyCar competition that he was supposed to run. Note that. He missed the 2020 Brickyard 400 after he tested positive in COVID-19, but 2 negative tests during the week after he was back in action the very next week. Missed only that one race. It did end a 663 consecutive start streak, but you think about that. In his entire time in the Cup Series level, he missed one race. Last year, he missed the oval races, but that was his plan going into the year, so we can't really count that necessarily. I still think that he should have run the ovals because of all the things that he would have been the most familiar with, it would have been the oval tracks.
Yeah.
And
no
witness
doubt.
what he did at Texas
yeah.
in his first time there.
See, that's what made me go, huh?
I know. I mean, it was baffling for me to sit there and think that he was going to run all the road and street courses, but all the oval track racing that he had done in his entire career, again, 7-time Cup Series champion, one would think he'd want to run the ovals, especially the ones that he was familiar with,
right.
Indianapolis and Texas.
But I can see the flip side. He wanted to challenge himself a little bit, is what it appeared to me. And
might have been a little in over his head.
But yeah, but I mean, if you have the experience on those courses, why not drive them and put your team
sure
into the winner's circle once in a while?
Well, and here's the thing. I mean, he's going into something that he's massively unfamiliar with. We all know that. He's going from a stock car to an Indy car, and I don't think he'd ever run any open wheel race car before.
No.
Why wouldn't you go to a track that you're at least familiar with? That way you have a baseline of, hey, I know I can do this in a stock car. And you go, okay, here's the line that I ran in stock cars. Let me try it in IndyCar, and then you kind of play with it, and you adjust to it that much faster.
Yeah, that's my thing. I mean,
but 2021 is gone. Missed opportunity for Jimmy Johnson.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, it is.
Also, as we talked about last week, IndyCar officials talking with a couple of teams about pulling out another car or two in an attempt to ensure that there's going to be a full 33-car field for this year's Indy 500. One of the leaders in the clubhouse might be now all of a sudden Juncos Hollinger Racing. They state they might be up for it after all. The owners of the team, which they currently run, Callum Elod in their number 77 Chevrolet powered entry full-time, might be trying to work out some sort of a deal with Chevrolet to field a second racer, likely a one-time deal, according to Ricardo Juncos, who told Racer.com, quote, "Looks like we might be the only option. So what I said to IndyCar is I need to have as much time as possible. Unfortunately, this is a last-minute deal, and honestly, like I've said every time, I don't want to do it. I said to them, find somebody else, and if I'm the only option, read last option, and there's no other option for us to have 33 cars, then we will make it happen." Racer.com reports that there are still some other possible options, but literally nothing is confirmed yet, and time is, well, let's face it, it's a major factor. We're just a little over a month away from Indy 500.
Yeah.
And less than that, if you really stop and think about it, because 2 weeks out, once they get the Indy road course race in, everything turns to the Indy 500. Qualifying, practices, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So really, it's less than half a month. Well, a little over half a month, I guess I should say. So time is very, very much a factor in this situation. One of the teams that we know is not going to be an option for that 33rd car is Poretta Motorsports. That's that all-female owned and operated team that they did run the Indy 500 last year, but apparently out of contention to do it this year. But they haven't given up on the idea of racing this season. They said that they're turning their attention more to some road course races later on in the year as opposed to trying only for the Indy 500. Back to Racer.com, who reports Poretta is set to team with an unnamed existing team, putting veteran driver Simona Di Silvestro in the race car for at least 3 races before this season ends. They have ideas that they want to expand out, still part-time next year, but they want to run several races in 2023.
Push comes to shove. Time gets closer, and they're only still seeing that 32 number, considering that they team with none other than Team Penske. Keyword Penske. Guarantee you Roger will say, put it on the track off with the bill.
Sure. Racer.com said that they expect an announcement to be made this coming week about team affiliation and a new sponsor coming on board for the races that they want to do later on in the year. You just mentioned it, partnered on that Indy 500 run with Team Penske last year. Don't know whether that'll be the pairing again, but it seems probable that that would be the pairing again. And again, I agree with you. Roger Penske, he may not be willing to put that car out there himself, but he knows we've got a chassis here. Chevrolet's willing to foot the bill for the motor. All he's got to do is just help out, maybe putting personnel on the track and paying for the personnel. I don't think Roger Penske would be all that against that.
No.
And then there's Aero Mclaren Sp. They want to become a 3-car operation. They will field 3 cars for the Indy 500. That's been planned. They had been talking internally about continuing running that third ride throughout pretty much the remainder of the year. They state now that other commitments are more pressing, so that's a non-option now. Team President Taylor Keel said, quote, "We thought about it quite a bit as a way of preparing for 2023. I think going forward, you'll always see us run an extra car in the Indy 500 to stack the odds in our favor a little bit. But I think undertaking a third car to dip our toes in the water in the 22 championship to prepare for 23 wasn't a model we felt comfortable with. Our cars are going to be in it full time or not at all, with the exception of, as I say, the Indy 500. So I don't think you'll see the number 6 car again after Indy. I mean, never say never, but I'd say it was unlikely." He added that they want to concentrate on the 2 cars that they have, their 2 full-time drivers, Pato O'Ward and Felix Rosenquist, and use the personnel that they would have dedicated to the third car. We presume it would have been driven by Juan Pablo Montoya, as it will be in the Indy 500, to concentrate on the testing that'll be happening throughout the rest of this year and next year for the new for 2024 engine package.
There's your next successor to Zach Brown when he retires.
Oh, I'd agree. Taylor Keel.
Every bit of it.
That being said, don't hold your breath on Zach Brown retiring anytime too soon.
True.
He's a fairly young guy, all things being equal.
He is.
So, be interesting to watch this. And I know that we have seen the return of Elio Castroneves, and he's in his mid-40s.
Mm-hmm.
Would Juan Pablo Montoya actually be the guy that you think Aero Mclaren Sp would put in the car next year? I don't think so either.
Personally, no.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
No
disrespect to you, Juan, but I'm not seeing the return like a Elio Castroneves. Sorry, I'm just not. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. I'm generally not wrong on Saturdays, though. When we come back,
hey,
we'll continue on. Team Penske, we talked about them just a moment ago. They've got a couple of things going on in the news. One of them is collectibles. Not necessarily in the way that you might have thought, though. So we'll talk about that. And we'll also talk about the Music City Grand Prix as we continue on talking IndyCar right here as we head into hour number 2 of CRN.
Stay right here for more on the Championship Racing Network.
Hey, welcome on into the show. I'm Steve West along with Matt Nicholson, producer John Myers. Busy week. Once again, we want to thank, if you missed hour one, you missed a lot. We had track president Brian Crichton from Talladega Superspeedway in. We talked all things Talladega a little while ago. Mm-hmm. We missed one thing, and I apologize to Brian, should have mentioned it. We have been known on occasion to throw a heritage car out there to lead some laps.
Some pretty popular heritage cars known to Talladega.
We did talk about the fact that one Clint Boyer, now former NASCAR Cup Series driver turned Fox News in-booth analyst for their NASCAR coverage, is going to be inducted into the Talladega Walk of Fame. Mm-hmm. He's also going to get a chance to drive one of those heritage cars.
Yeah, it's the 35th anniversary of Davey Allison's first win at Talladega. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
I think that's right.
And so he's going to drive on a pace laps before the race, similar to what Richard Childress done in Dale Earnhardt's final win car from Talladega in year 2000. He's going to pilot that classic, iconic black and gold and day-glow red.
Yes.
I think that's the right colors of it.
That's probably the best way to put it.
Texaco Havoline Ford Thunderbird.
Yeah. It's going to be a sharp,
Do you think,
sharp ride.
Can you, I would love to, here's my pitch.
Uh-oh, here it comes.
I would love to be in that car with Clint Boyer like Johnny Morris of Bass Pro Shops was with Richard Childress.
Uh-huh.
Because Clint Boyer's face will probably melt off the front of the helmet from him smiling so big.
Oh, I bet. The chance to drive that car?
That car. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's
crazy.
Don't get me wrong. As popular as Dale Earnhardt was and is at Talladega Superspeedway.
Yeah.
Davey Allison. Come on.
And
I don't need to say anymore. Davey Allison.
That's all you got to say.
That's it. That's all that there is. That being said, we're both into racing collectibles. Mm-hmm. This one's a little weird. I still can't wrap my head totally around NFTs, or what they call non-fungible tokens.
I can't either.
But that being said, Team Penske, which is inarguably one of the most successful racing organizations in the entire world, much less IndyCar or NASCAR, teaming with the most successful NFL quarterback, Tom Brady, to begin work on some NFTs, non-fungible tokens, and digital collectibles. Multi-year deal between Team Penske and Penske Entertainment. Remember, they are actually the owner of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And then the brand founded by Brady called Autograph. The first collectibles will be released in a tie-in with the upcoming 106th running of the Indy 500 Memorial Day weekend. If you'd like more information, go online. You'll be able to find it. I forget where I found it. I think you can go to autograph.io. Mm-hmm. Is that what I've got?
Yep.
My printer didn't work on that. Sorry. It might turn out to be the future of collectibles. I don't know. But Roger Penske is kind of also thinking about the on-track future of the series that he owns. He got into an interview recently with Racer.com, said he thinks that there should be more races per season. They're only at 17 right now. And you think about it, yeah, they got started in February shortly after we got the Daytona 500 in, but their season's going to be done in September.
Yeah.
NASCAR rolls on through almost the entire month of October. Mm-hmm. NASCAR runs 36 points races per year. IndyCar runs 17. Think about that for a moment. Not only does Roger Penske, though, think that there should be more races per season, he would actually like to see them run more oval track races.
I can't blame him.
Now, think about it this year. 5 of IndyCar's 17 races this year are on ovals, happening at Texas, Indianapolis, Worldwide Tech Raceway, and at Iowa Speedway. Iowa Speedway hosting a doubleheader. That's where you get the 5. Penske thinks there needs to be more, saying this, quote, "If we can get the right event in the right location, I would add ovals more than I would add road or street courses. That's the differentiation for us from any other form of racing. The diversity in our schedule with street courses, road courses, and ovals, I want to maintain that mix for the future." And then added this, quote, "I don't see us gaining 4 or 5 races. I think going from 15 to about 18 to 19 is a good place. You'll lose some because some might not want to continue because of the city or wherever you're running it inside the city. But on the other hand, the costs of the promoters have gone up. The costs have gone up with the teams. So I don't have a crystal ball on how many races we're going to have next year, but we're trying to work with the promoters to see what's possible." I think 19 is easily doable.
Oh, for sure.
IndyCar. I think it's easily doable.
Oh, yeah.
Again, NASCAR runs almost through the entirety of the month of November. We're not even touching October, really, in IndyCar, except for COVID things.
If Formula One, and yes, I said that, can stretch 22, 23 races out worldwide and make it work.
Yeah.
IndyCar, being heavily based in North America and the Western Hemisphere, let's say that.
Sure.
Can easily make 18, 19, I'd say 20 races work.
Yeah. I mean,
with ease.
We have Toronto. Okay, but you can't tell me that they couldn't go back and, say, run Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. They've run there before.
Yeah.
Or they could run Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, where Formula One runs.
Yeah.
And who's to stop them from going to Mexico, kind of like Formula One does, too?
Didn't at one point they run Vancouver as well?
I think they did.
So, yeah.
So, they could expand out in the United States. Don't get me wrong. But I think there are opportunities in Canada. I think there are opportunities in Mexico. And I'm not the only one that's talking about this. But they used to run overseas. They went to Australia before.
Mm-hmm.
Why not try it again? I mean, I saw, if you look, and you probably won't even have to look that hard, go online and search Romain Grosjean compares F1 to IndyCar. No less than Romain Grosjean has glowing things to say about IndyCar in comparison to Formula One. And he says he thinks that it would benefit IndyCar to go back to Australia. They haven't been in many, many years. And he thinks they honestly could make it over and become successful by going into the heart of Formula One territory, Europe.
He's not wrong.
I think he's absolutely 110% correct.
But here's the thing, though. If you go back to Australia, do you go to Albert Park or do you go to Surfers Paradise?
Romain Grosjean said Surfers Paradise.
I would say Surfers Paradise as well.
Because it would differentiate them from Formula One.
Right.
I think it's great. If you go to Britain, I'd say, and no disrespect to Silverstone, go to Brands Hatch.
Go back to Japan to Twin Ring Motegi. There's an oval.
Absolutely. Knock it out. To me, these are the opportunities that Roger Penske is beginning to realize. It hasn't fully realized it yet.
Right. I mean, Twin Ring Motegi, even though it's from an iRacing sense, it's a fun little track.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Very fun.
Penske did note the Music City Grand Prix heading into year 2 after a very successful debut in 2021. Happy to bring Iowa Speedway back to the IndyCar schedule as well, and added that despite some lackluster turnout for this year's race, we saw the stands, he wants to keep Texas Motor Speedway on the slate, but that would mean a new contract would need to be signed because next year is the final year of their current deal.
Because this year they ran it in the middle of the stinking day when Eddie Gossett always ran the race at night.
Yeah, it should be a night race.
Should be a night. My vote, everything at Texas should be a night race.
Well, I mean, if you're talking about, March, early April, the weather's not scaldingly hot.
Start it later in the day and let it finish at night.
There you go. Might be a little bit cool, but hey, people in Texas have jackets. It'll be all right.
Yeah, I know.
Let's turn our attention over to the Cup Series here. Last week, you were on your soapbox. He'll be on a soapbox again in a bit. Matt, you called out NASCAR in relation to the hefty L2 level penalty that was handed out to RFK Racing for modifying a single source supplied part. Matt, you said you wanted NASCAR to be more transparent about why they ruled as they did about that rear tail panel. Brad Keselowski himself did admit the team had to repair that rear tail panel due to damage that was caused at a prior race, and they didn't have a replacement for it. The team did initially appeal the penalty. It was denied because apparently they didn't fix it back to the parameters that NASCAR figured that they really, really wanted. When it was denied, they said they wouldn't appeal it further. He understood NASCAR's position. Well, NASCAR's senior VP of competition appeared on the Sirius XM satellite radio NASCAR channel this week, said that their policy is, quote unquote, very straightforward, and added this, quote, any repair that is done to bring the part back to the original specification on this part was not adhered to. There was some body mounting landings that are part of the rear fascia. They weren't brought back to the original specification. That's a key design feature of the part. The repair policy wasn't followed, so that's really what it comes down to. A critical dimension of the part was altered. As we work through what the next-gen car was going to be over that long journey with the teams, one of the things that these single-source parts had to be strictly enforced, or we'd get right back to a place where we were with the other car with constant development. A strict deterrence model was asked for by the folks in the garage. It's our job to do that. We said we would, and that's what led to the penalty.
All right.
Is that clear enough, or do you feel like that just kind of scratched the surface?
That just scratches the surface. Here's another thing I'm going to call him out on. If we're going to have this, Brad Keselowski's going to give his viewpoint. Scott Miller gives their viewpoint. There needs to be clear-cut, in the clearest HD definition that you can put it in, a photo of what was found on the Keselowski car versus what the adherence and the strict rules should be. If there was, in his words, a critical dimension of the part was altered, show the dimension what it should be versus what they altered. Give a visual to where, like, hey, so if we have to make a repair, we know we can't put this bracket an eighth of an inch that way or eighth of an inch this way, a quarter inch or whatever it was. Put the visual out there to where it's visibly seen, and that'll be an even bigger deterrence.
Let me ask this, and I get this at like a Daytona or a Talladega, but at Atlanta even, I guess, which is where this really was found.
Yeah.
But you go to Martinsville, you go to Bristol. Aero isn't really that big of a deal. We haven't seen it as much.
Not really.
But you go to an Atlanta, you go to a Bristol, you go to a Talladega, you go to a Daytona.
Mm-hmm.
How much does the tail panel really affect the Aero?
Super Speedway? A lot.
See, I don't think a lot of people get that.
It affects it a ton. Because why do you think that say if let's say we're all three in a big drafting train.
Mm-hmm.
Everything checks up. It all turns into accordion effect. I'm pushing. You're in the middle. John's pulling. You get into the back of John. You and accidentally just hook John from the chain effect, and it rips the tailpiece off. That's the only damage he's got.
Okay.
Why do you think they make them that you cannot get back onto the racetrack unless you've got a full tail panel over the rear end? Because if there's any alterations or that tailpiece is not there, that lessens it lessens the vacuum, and it causes more of a slipstream to come out the back of the car, streamlining the Aero. About the most simplified way I can describe it. It alters the air enough to where it makes more of a slipstream.
Okay.
Because the air coming underneath the car, it kind of catches on the back of the tail, creates a little bit of drag.
Right.
You take that off, makes a slipstream. That's why they make the cars, you've got to be back on the track with the tailpiece in place or you cannot continue.
So, John, we'll rip the tail panel off your car, and when we all get back out there, you push.
I say put him in the middle where it's less of a pull.
Oh, well, there you go.
Or just push you both into the wall and just keep on going.
Slingshot, engage.
Yes. You had mentioned that there was another soapbox issue for you.
Oh, this is a big one. This may be a historical one for me.
I do believe we teased this last night.
Oh yeah, we teed it up.
Everyone, listen up.
I'm going to sit back over here. I wish I had a bag of popcorn.
I'll even go as far as to read this statement right here. As we noted last weekend in the schedule, NASCAR is pulling a very big rarity, running the Cup Series Bristol race under the lights. It's not unusual, but doing it on Easter Sunday. The first time the Cup Series has ever raced on this holiday. Actually, I think they've run it 32 years ago on Easter. I can't remember where.
It's pretty much, it's a rarity, though.
Yeah, it's very rare. So Fox Sports is presented to do a special telecast, including the winningest driver in Cup Series history at the track, three-time Cup Series champion Darrell Waltrip, who worked at Fox Sports and worked as a Fox Sports booth analyst from 2001 to 2019. Fox Sports 1 will begin Easter coverage at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Central Time, showing the track's Easter celebration in the fan midway area. Pre-race coverage begins an hour later with NASCAR Race Day, and then at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central Time, the coverage moves to the Fox Network, starting an hour later. There's one thing that I've seen that's a positive so far.
Okay.
Last year, and exactly on this very show, I marked my words. I said the track's going to lock down and be a one-lane racetrack.
You did. Correct.
And what happened during the race? It
locked down.
During practice, I have seen 3 grooves in both corners.
Mm-hmm.
That's a positive. John, you got the make sure we get this recorded real clearly. We've got a nighttime race. We're practicing in the daytime.
Yeah.
Daytime practice, nighttime race. I'm going to say that again. Daytime practice, nighttime race. Anybody that has had any remote experience in the dirt racing world knows that never works. You're going to have a totally different racetrack at night. Yes, you got 36 cars that weigh 3,500 pounds apiece on a hybrid dirt track. Yeah, it's going to dry out some, but the cooler nighttime temperatures is going to allow the surface to hold moisture more, which therefore makes a heavier racetrack, which makes a faster racetrack, which makes a little bit of a tighter racetrack, therefore makes a racier racetrack.
And let me mention this. There's a chance of rain tomorrow.
Up there, yes.
Yeah. Low temperature for Sunday night into Monday morning gets down into the mid to upper 50s here in central Alabama, where we're broadcasting, which means probably a little cooler in Bristol, truth be told.
Let's see. I'm gonna see real quick. Okay.
So
Bristol, Tennessee.
Again, kind of starts to exacerbate what you're talking about, Matt. Kind of starts to put a little bit more of a spotlight on what you're mentioning here. I mean, one of the things that we were kind of complaining about last year was the fact that it was almost too dry. Now we're going to get rain.
A high of 66 and a low of 43.
Oh, much cooler than here.
So the track's going to hold moisture that much more.
With rain on top of it.
So it was talking about 15 to 20,000 gallons of water put on it.
Ooh.
That's really, honestly, that's nothing. I've seen a smoke put about 40,000 on Eldora before.
Yeah.
And what did it do? It held moisture. So now you've seen all these next-gen cars practicing on the dirt during the daytime of all things. Even the trucks. Stuart Friesen made a comment about it. I heard on practice yesterday, and I went, you read my mind, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
We're practicing in the daytime for a nighttime race. Late models would be losing their minds. Whoever had that idea,
make life
shame
that
on
much
you.
more interesting. It'll make life that much more
Yes.
interesting. There's no doubt. To the Xfinity Series, where we noted on the show last Saturday that the Friday night Martinsville race, especially the post race, was quite interesting. Quasi-boxing match erupting between Ty Gibbs and Sam Mayer. In the final overtime attempt, Mayer was the meat in the sandwich of Gibbs on the outside, Landon Castle on the inside. Castle got up on the curbing. Curbing got him loose, pushed him up in the Mayer. Mayer had nowhere to go, ended up into Gibbs. That knocked Gibbs out of contention. Gibbs, not knowing the full story, got way too hot under the collar, bumps Mayer on the cool-down lap, but he wasn't done. He even made more contact, car to car, on pit road. And then the two drivers got out of their cars. Mayer took his helmet off. Gibbs didn't. Exchanged words before Gibbs started swinging at Mayer with his helmet still on. Team members and NASCAR officials finally broke him up. Gibbs was summoned to the NASCAR hauler with Mayer. They had about a 10-minute talking to. Well, talking wasn't deemed enough. Gibbs was handed a fine for making contact with Mayer's car on pit road. Keep in mind, he was handed the fine for making contact car to car on pit road with officials and team crew members all in close proximity. The fine, $15,000. They cited the NASCAR member conduct and safety rules in the notebook. Apparently, the boys have at it part holds true. They didn't fine him for the fight, which I don't necessarily have a problem with. I might have fined him for not taking his helmet off and being a man.
Yeah.
Well, we are talking about baby Gibbs.
I guess. I mean, Ty Gibbs hasn't talked, and nobody has given a good explanation as to why he didn't take his helmet off, other than the fact that apparently he was planning on swinging and didn't want to have his pretty face hit.
Maybe his hair was messed up.
Dude, I don't care about your helmet hair. Take your helmet off. If you're going to start swinging, man, take your helmet off.
I'm going to give you a side note on something right here. I just seen flash on social media. I swear I'm telling you, somebody from jski.com is listening to what I just said.
Okay.
They just put a video up of Stuart Friesen talking about how his truck was handling bad daytime versus nighttime.
We like jski.com, so we'll be more than happy to help work out with that. Love that. That's good stuff. Thank you, Jski. As if kind of reading our minds. We appreciate it. On a good note, Richard Childress Racing going to break out a number 3 Chevrolet Camaro for next week. We'll talk about that when we come back. You're listening to CRN.
Don't touch that dial. The Championship Racing Network will be right back.
Mata's Great Pizza.
Fuel only. Go, go, go. We're back to the Championship Racing Network.
Next weekend, Talladega Superspeedway. Richard Childress Racing breaking out a classic number 3 Chevrolet Camaro for the Xfinity Series race.
Still, though.
Uh-huh. And the heritage name running that number 3 isn't Earnhardt. No, it's not Dale Jr. It's Jeffrey Earnhardt. Jeffrey Earnhardt's been tapped to drive this particular number 3 with sponsorship from Forever Lawn. Jeffrey, if you did not know, is Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s grandson, the son of Kerry. Jeffrey's now 32. He's been competing in NASCAR's top 3 series for several years now. We had a picture. I don't guess we do have it now. Anyway, yes, Forever Lawn has a green part of it. It's like along the bottom part of the car, if I remember correctly.
The car is black.
The rest of the car, black. It's a sharp-looking car. Jeffrey got himself 135 Xfinity Series starts in his career, best finish of 3rd so far, coming with Joe Gibbs Racing back in 2019 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. This marks his first ever start with Richard Childress Racing. Jeffrey Earnhardt said about that, quote, "What a dream come true. I want to thank Mr. Childress for making this possible. Number 3 is cherished by a lot of people. I know how much it means to him. To give me this opportunity is something I'll never forget." Of course, Jeffrey's uncle, Dale Earnhardt Jr., he ran last week, Martinsville. He hadn't said anything about this particular ride, but I imagine he's probably all for it.
I said this a couple of years ago when Jeffrey Earnhardt had his shot with Gibbs in Xfinity.
Yeah.
running with a now iffy IK9 sponsorship.
Yes.
That's not very far from here. I'm going to revert back on what I said and say it again. I said at the time that 18 car was his best shot yet. This is his best shot yet.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that.
A RCR car at a super speedway, an Xfinity.
Knock it out, man.
You can't tell me this is not his best shot yet.
I'm going to enjoy next week, and you will too.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to tell you this right offhand. I always got a kick out of it. From the first time that I got up there in the PA booth and had the chance to watch the entirety of the grandstands.
Mm-hmm.
On race weekend, specifically whenever Dale Earnhardt Jr. was running, didn't matter where he started, but most especially if it was kind of mid-pack.
Mm-hmm.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. would waste very little time working his way towards the front. And once everything kind of got settled down, people would settle down into their seats, but you could tell they were watching because, say Dale Earnhardt started, 18th.
Mm-hmm.
About 10 laps in, we're all nice and settled down into our seats. And then we noticed Dale Earnhardt's running 8th, 9th. By lap 20, if it took that long, but we'll say in this case, lap 20, he's running 5th. And you look down, and everybody that was sitting back relaxed now is kind of up on the edge of their seat. They're like, wait a minute. Now he's up there and starting to work his way towards the front.
Yeah, you could
feel everybody just kind of going.
Seismic shift. It goes slide,
mm-hmm.
stand.
Yep.
Hat wave.
Yep. And once he took the lead, man, that was it. It didn't matter whether it was lap 1 or lap 20 or lap 188.
Yeah.
As soon as Dale Earnhardt Jr. took the lead, everybody's on their feet. I'm waiting to see that in this car. The number 3 with an Earnhardt behind the wheel. Yeah. I want to see that. I'm looking forward to that. Meantime, back to Dale Earnhardt. That run at Martinsville, he finished 11th place. Wasn't all that happy with it when it comes back and looking back on it. He wants another go at it. Now, remember, since retiring from Cup Series racing, Junior's run one Xfinity Series race each and every season for his own Junior Motorsports. Martinsville wasn't one that he could do before because the Xfinity Series had only run there in the fall, and his NBC duties interfered with that. On his podcast, he recently said that he wants to go back to the paperclip-shaped track, saying this, quote, "I really love Martinsville. I think I didn't get everything out of that I wanted in terms of my performance. So I'd love to go back, try it again to run better, knowing what I know now." Earnhardt needed to make the race on speed. He did. He qualified 30th. He was able to work his way up into the top 10 before he kind of faded a little bit and finished 11th. Remember, since 2018, he's run Richmond twice, Darlington, Homestead, Miami once each, and now Martinsville. Martinsville looks to be back on the docket for next year, maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised if he snuck in the fall race. I wouldn't be shocked.
It wouldn't shock me if NBC allowed him to do that. Not at all.
Oh, yeah. They will because he did it at the NBC race for Xfinity.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it wouldn't shock me at all.
It was our last time up at Darlington in 2019.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he ran that race.
And trust me, they talked to him quite a good bit on the air.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Big Machine Racing has settled on a driver for the Talladega and Dover races. They're going to put Kaz Gralla in their number 48 Chevrolet Camaro. They're taking Jade Buford out of that car for those two events. Now, Buford struggled this season so far. He did claim a top 10 at Circuit of the Americas, but otherwise he hasn't finished higher than 22nd. Team owner Scott Borchetta said this, quote, "We have made a very serious commitment to the Xfinity Series, including our strategic partnership with RCR. At this time, we need to evaluate all aspects of the team as I'm determined to run up front." Now, Jade Buford's pretty inexperienced, and then you got Kaz Gralla. He's got 37 Xfinity Series starts to his credit, 3 of those this year coming with Alpha Prime Racing. He's also got 2 starts for the Money Team in the Cup Series. Didn't really do that well. It's a startup team. What do you want? And he does have 2 Truck Series starts for this season so far for Young's Motorsports. That being said, I mean, it's not like Kaz Gralla's Dale Earnhardt Jr. How much can Kaz Gralla bring to this team that Jade Buford couldn't in trying to tell them, hey, this is what I'm sensing out of the car and what you might need to fix? Is he experienced enough to be able to say that?
I'm not so sure because I think, personally, I feel like Scott Borchetta pulled the trigger a little too quick because Jade Buford ran very, very, very respectable at Daytona in a super speedway race right off the start of the year.
As we mentioned, got a top 10 at COTA.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty technical track.
Yeah, very technical track. But Jade Buford is heavily based in road racing.
Yeah.
Okay. Dover, I can see doing the evaluation with Kaz Gralla, but Talladega,
based on his run at Daytona, why would you?
Why would you?
I don't know.
It's like you're taking the dice and throwing it and hoping it lands on snake eyes.
I mean, I get this. We're in a time now where coaches are hired to be fired. Coaches have always been hired to be fired. There's no doubt about it. Whether you're talking baseball, football, basketball, hockey, soccer, doesn't matter. But the patience is running thin on the team owners. They want to win. They want to win now because they're spending a lot of money trying to put this team on the field or on the court or on the rink or whatever it is that you want to talk about.
Yeah.
In the racing terms, Scott Borchetta is putting a lot of money out there to field this team on a full-time basis. He wants to see results. But the thing about it is you're putting a young guy who, as you mentioned, has a very notable road course background. Oval track's not necessarily his thing. He's still getting his feet wet there.
Yeah.
I think you pulled the trigger too quick.
I agree. I mean, if I'm the CEO of a major, and I mean major record label, yeah, you've got money to throw around. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
Scott Borchetta is big in motorsports. He's a former track champion of the Pro Truck Series at the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
So he knows his stuff about motorsports.
Oh, yeah.
So don't pull the trigger a little too quick. Let the super speedway race play itself out because, I mean, my 8-year-old nephew could get in a car and hold his own. Super speedway racing is it's mentally technical.
Sure. But when you get out on the track, basically you've got a steering wheel and your foot's planted to the floor.
And
you're just trying to stay out of everybody else's way.
Find the fast line.
Which,
yes,
not the easiest thing in the world to do. I mean,
True.
We're not sitting here saying that it's a drive down I-20.
True.
But at the same point in time, you got your foot matted. You don't have to worry about really necessarily backing off the accelerator except for when you're coming down pit road. Otherwise, your foot's planted. You just got to make sure that you stay out of everybody else's way and hope nobody bangs into you and knocks you out of the way.
Right.
I don't know if Kaz Gralla is going to be any different than Jade Buford there. Dover could be a different story. His experience at Dover might actually be a benefit, but at Talladega next weekend, I don't know if he's going to get anything out of Kaz Gralla that he would not have gotten out of Jade Buford.
Agreed. Fully agreed.
And then there's Sam Hunt Racing, or as we like to call him here on this show, the other SHR. They announced that next weekend in our backyard, our home away from home at Talladega, they're going to put Camping World Truck Series title contender Chandler Smith into the number 26 Toyota Supra in the Xfinity Series. They're also going to put him in the car for Dover and Homestead, Miami. Okay, then. Smith won 2 races in 2021 in the Truck Series, has a win in 2022 already, so he's locked into the Truck Series playoffs. But despite those 44 starts in the Truck Series, this actually will mark next weekend his Xfinity Series debut.
And I don't think it's just all that terrible of a choice for Sam Hunt. Not all terrible.
I don't think so at all. I mean, Chandler Smith has proven to be quite the racer here over the last year and a half or so.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm all about him. Camping World Truck Series news, and hey, this shouldn't be a shock to you. If you're shocked by this, I don't know where you've been the past several years. There's going to be Cup Series moonlighters on the track today on the dirt at Bristol in the Truck Series.
Shocker.
I know. Strangely enough, not Kyle Busch. Some Cup drivers do want to get a little bit more used to driving on the dirt. 4 drivers slated to run this afternoon. Chase Elliott, Austin Dillon, Joey Logano, Harrison Burton all taking part in the race today. Chase Elliott driving the Spire Motorsports number 7 Chevrolet. Young's Motorsports has put out a number 20 Chevrolet for Austin Dillon. To Joey Logano, he's set to pilot a Planet Fitness sponsored number 54 Ford for David Gilliland Racing, and he'll actually become a teammate with the aforementioned Harrison Burton, who climbs into DGR's number 17 Ford truck. Don't know the sponsor on that particular one. All right. Have to see how they do. I saw practice yesterday. Chase was practicing up inside the top 5 for a little while.
Let me see here. I just had it. Here we go. Chase actually ended up 23rd.
Ooh, wow. Okay.
Way big time fall
Apparently
off.
I was watching early in practice.
Big time fall off from that daytime practice for a nighttime race.
You're not bitter about that at all.
In case I didn't say that real clear enough. But oddly, Denny Hamlin was your fastest in practice yesterday.
Wow. Well, there you go.
With Kyle Busch second, Todd Gilliland third. And then here comes your dirt contingent of Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, and Kyle Larson, 4th, 5th, and 6th, respectively.
So that's Cup Series practice.
Yep. Joey Logano 7th, Justin Haley 8th, Stenhouse 9th, and Brad Keselowski 10th for the Cup Series side, yes. But for trucks, here we go. Final practice, yes, he was 5th. Okay. Joey Logano was your leader.
Not really all that surprised. He won the Cup Series race here last year on the dirt. So,
and another thing that kind of ruffles the feathers, the trucks are faster on the dirt than the Cup cars are. That's not supposed to happen.
It's really not, no. It'd be interesting to watch that. Before we go to break, a couple more things to note when it comes to NASCAR that we just found out during our last break. A couple of announcements coming today at Bristol.
Today, there's two apparently pretty sizable announcements coming at Bristol. At 2 p.m. Eastern, there's going to be an announcement that's labeled for NASCAR Canada.
That's going to be interesting because for them to announce it at Bristol, it would tell me that at least the Camping World Truck Series is involved, maybe the Cup Series.
Yeah.
And remember, the 2023 schedule is nowhere near cemented.
No.
And we have talked on this show in the not too distant past about the fact that they are willing to go to different places. And they have talked about going outside of the United States of America with the Cup Series. So not saying that that's what's going to be said. It is a possibility, though.
Then secondly, the second thing, the announcement 1 hour after that, 3 p.m. Eastern, it's just labeled an SMI Speedway Motorsports announcement. The social media rumor of what the announcement pertains to, and it's come from people that are on the grounds at Bristol, that it's dealing with North Wilkesboro.
And you saw a picture, and you were listening to a Dale Earnhardt Jr. podcast earlier this week.
Earlier in the week, yeah. In his Ask Junior segment, they were talking about just making conversation about North Wilkesboro. Well, he just bluntly said, and he said it with a smirk, I would keep my ear to the ground real close when it comes to North Wilkesboro. And kind of had that Earnhardt smirk, too.
Sure.
And then one other thing that I caught as well, the Bristol Dirt Nationals Twitter page for all their information of where they run the late models and the modifieds and the Hornets and the street stock cars has now changed. It's now changed, and the title of the page is called Racetrack Revival.
That's interesting to note.
Official Twitter of the Racetrack Revival announcement on April 16th, 2022. So my prediction, the Bristol Dirt Nationals has ran its final time.
Okay.
And there's something about to come about with North Wilkesboro.
What was the picture that I referred to?
And the picture Toyota Racing teased yesterday was the picture of a next-gen car.
Cup car.
Sitting at the start finish line at North Wilkesboro.
We're not saying it's going to happen, but we'll find out this afternoon. Let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll turn our attention to straight line racing. Got some news from the NHRA, and we got some Formula One news as well. We'll get in as much as we can before we run out of time. Yeah, hard to believe. We're already up against our last segment here on this edition of CRN.
Stay right here for more on the Championship Racing Network. 4 tires and 2 cans of fuel, and we're back to more racing action on the Championship Racing Network.
As a preview, we do this every week. If you go check out our CRN live feed, many of you are on it right now. Hi. We're going to have an after the show. So after our primary 2-hour show, which is also on FM radio in East Central Alabama, we'll give you a YouTube-only show, which is where we're going to fill out the rest of this book that I've got here for you. But we'll get to as much as we can right now. And we start with the National Hot Rod Association when the NHRA's Camping World Drag Racing Series heads down to Houston for the Spring Nationals at Houston Raceway Park. It will mark the return of one of the more heralded pro stock motorcycle riders and champions of recent memory, Ellie Tonglet. Haven't heard his name for a couple of years. Tonglet actually won the 2010 NHRA Rookie of the Year, and he won the Pro Stock Motorcycle title that same year. And through the 2018 season, claimed 133 total events, 20 event wins, 28 final appearances, including 4 wins in 2018. But after that season, 2018, he said he needed to take a break from racing, wanting to devote more time to his family and more time to his regular job. It's an important one. He's a firefighter in Metairie, Louisiana's fire department. But now he says he thinks the time is right to get back to racing. Quote, "Things are good at home, but we still want to race. I don't see us running all the races, but we can make a few of them. That works well for us. We'll see how it goes, then decide where else to go and what to do." So Ellie Tonglet's back.
Yeah.
Here's his problem. The ride that he's running is a 2016 model with a 2016 model engine.
Oof.
Good luck.
Maybe a day late and $1 short.
We'll find out. Houston's coming up on the schedule shortly. And then there are some names in racing that everybody knows, and this isn't by any stretch a long list, but if you know racing in general, you know the name Richard Petty. You know the name AJ Foyt. You know the name Mario Andretti. If you know NHRA racing in history, you know John Force. I'd say you probably know Don Garlitz.
Heard of him.
If you know racing at all, probably in your head, or maybe even out loud to the steering wheel or your cup of coffee, you probably said Big Daddy Don Garlitz. Well, that NHRA legend just celebrated his 90th birthday, but he ain't done racing yet. As a matter of fact, he was recently out getting licensed. Now, you might be saying to yourself, did Steve just say getting licensed?
He did.
Sure did, yeah. He was at Rockingham Dragway this week, completing his licensing runs at Roy Hills Drag Racing School in an electric top dragster. Yeah, you heard me right. Looks a lot like a Top Fuel ride. Doesn't have anywhere near that much power. Noted by his quickest run, which was a 6.393 second run at a trap speed of 182 miles per hour. But it's good enough in this particular one because this is an exhibition class at this time. Once that time is approved by the NHRA, which is expected, would you not approve? I don't care how old Big Daddy Don Garlitz is. If he goes and he runs a time like that, which is under the number that the NHRA wanted, are you going to tell Big Daddy Don Garlitz, no, I don't, we're not going to license you?
No.
I'm not going to be that guy.
No,
so he'll be able to make some exhibition runs on the side planned for this coming week in his home state of Florida. With that out of the way, he said that he wants to help develop the ride to begin to get faster, surpass, for example, 200 miles per hour. That requires the NHRA license that we were just talking about. And Garlitz is no stranger to speed. He is also no stranger to breaking speed barriers. He was actually the guy that designed what we now know as a Top Fuel ride. He was the first guy to come out with a highly competitive rear engine Top Fuel ride. Did that in 1971. It's used exclusively now. He was also the guy that in NHRA competition was the first to break 200 miles per hour, 240 miles per hour, 250 miles per hour, and 270 miles per hour. The dude knows speed.
He does.
He's going to be the guy to help develop this thing out.
No doubt.
And that brings us to F1, Formula One. We talked about it at the top of the show. If you missed it, Sir Lewis Hamilton not having the greatest of years, and now he's getting his back up a little bit. He's defiant in the face of a couple of new Formula One race regulations that are being laid down by the new Formula One race director, Niels Wittich. Wittich, in this case, is reminding all drivers, he did so in Australia, put out a pre-race memo that, quote, the wearing of jewelry in the form of body piercing or metal neck chains is prohibited during the races. Well, Hamilton, now 37 and a 7-time champion, who has won more races in Formula One history than any other driver, and has also worn ear studs and a nose stud for several years now, told reporters, quote, I don't have any plans on removing them. I feel there are personal things that you should be able to be who you are. Well, there is a ban on jewelry. It's laid out in the FIA's International Sporting Code in their Appendix L. It's not new. But until that missive last weekend that was sent out to all the drivers and all the teams, it actually hasn't been strictly enforced. But somehow, the topic of jewelry, and as it turns out, the requirement for all drivers to wear flame-resistant underwear, was brought up during the driver briefing last Friday before the race. That particular part brought Red Bull team boss Christian Horner to joke, quote, I certainly won't be checking our drivers' underwear for compliance.
Whew, okay.
I don't want to be the guy that has to go around saying, hey, your undies fired retardant? I'm not looking. I'm sorry. I'm not checking.
Whoever checks that stuff, there's tags on them that tells you the date stamp on them from, if it's a FIA stamp. Reason I know, I have some. Alpine Stars, it is FIA legal. It's got a FIA logo on it. I can show you. It tells you what they are.
Yeah.
You don't have to go, oh, let's light a fire to it. Oh, you're good.
But I'm not going to be the one asking to see the tag. I'm sorry. I'm just not doing it.
I think you're supposed to bring it to like a safety checkup, have everything laid out to where they can inspect it visually with you not having it on.
I guess. But then you got to make sure that you go put them on. I mean, I can show you my wedding ring, but it's broken.
Show you mine too.
So I'm not wearing it.
Yeah.
Because I got to get it fixed.
Yeah.
So just because I show it to you doesn't mean I got it on.
Right.
And quite frankly, this whole thing on the jewelry, again, he's been wearing these pieces of jewelry for several years now. I don't see what the big deal is.
Yeah. I don't know.
There are things to clamp down on. This is not a hill to die on, Niels.
Old Mohammed bin Sulayem.
Yeah, good luck. The FIA also coming down on a move that Max Verstappen has used twice already this season. He actually also did it in the 2021 season finale in Abu Dhabi. This one I am with them on. I think this is the right move. This is the hill you do want to die on.
Mm-hmm.
Verstappen, who was in second place all 3 times that we just mentioned, when a safety car period was coming to an end, just before coming to the restart line where racing continues back under green, he's moved up to where he is side by side with the leader. That's actually a no-no. In a clarification of the rules issued by the aforementioned Niels Wittich, it states that now no longer will be tolerated and could be penalized. Included in the clarification sent to all teams, there was a diagram. It showed that fully running alongside the leader, even putting your front axle alongside of the car ahead of you, is not going to be allowed. In the wording to go along with the diagram, it further stated that no part of the trailing race car should overlap any portion of the race car ahead, period. No word on what any penalty might be. Could be disqualification, could be sent to or relegated to the tail end of the lead lap. Don't know.
It's tough to say.
But if you want to make this stick, you better make it harsh.
Yeah.
Because I can guarantee you some driver somewhere down the line, Max Verstappen, who's gotten away with it 3 times, will test the waters and see exactly what the penalty is. And if it's not that bad, he'll do it again.
Yeah.
So you better make it worthwhile. If you're going to put the warning out there, back it up.
Yeah.
As my wife always said, I never wanted to hear my mother start to count when we were somewhere in public. Why? What happens when your mom gets to number 3? Oh, we never found out. As opposed to the moms who are in the Walmart or the Target or wherever they are with Junior or Little Miss, and they go, don't make me count to 3, and end up counting to 252.
1.
If you're going to warn it, back it up.
2. 10.
Then we got this question. We talked about this a little bit last week. What's the future of the Monaco Grand Prix? That's the crown jewel of the Formula One schedule. Every single driver says so. That's the race they want to win pretty much above and beyond any other. We noted on the show a few weeks ago, Monaco being a little bit different than some of the other races. First of all, they don't pay a race hosting fee. In some cases, that's as high as $60 million in U.S. dollars. Monaco's also been called out by some within Formula One, saying that they might need to think about making some changes, things like the course layout. They use the city street course in Monaco, but it is kind of not wide enough anymore. When they first started out, it was plenty wide because the cars weren't as wide as they are now. They've gotten wider over the course of time.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? The road course hasn't. So it's not as wide, and according to some, it leads to some fairly boring follow-the-leader style racing. France's Auto Hebdo magazine has even said in an opinion piece that was published recently, quote, it was suggested that Liberty Media's demands were too excessive for Monaco and that the Grand Prix would no longer be held. Well, the Auto Club of Monaco, which is the race promoter, they disagree. ACM President Michel Bory retorted to that particular opinion piece, quote, that's not true. We're still in talks with them, F1. We must now make it concrete by signing a contract. I can guarantee you that after the 2022, the Grand Prix will continue to take place. I don't know if the contract will be for 3 or 5 years, but that's a detail. Monaco is kind of like Silverstone in Britain. It is a heritage race. It has appeared every single year on the Formula One slate since 1950, and 1950 was the first official year of Formula One as a series. Thing about it is there are some races that are kind of looking to unseat Monaco in that style, panache, and desirability to win. Singapore is highly thought of. Abu Dhabi is highly thought of. Miami is really trying to step up in the world, and the drivers are so looking forward to Las Vegas in 2023. Some drivers are claiming Las Vegas actually could become the new place that everybody wants to win. Bory didn't comment on what Monaco's plans for the future beyond racing might be. If I'm him, and I get it,
yeah,
this is a very densely packed, small city state there on the coast of the Mediterranean. But I'm going to be trying to figure out, is there a way to maybe widen out the street course a little bit? Because,
I don't know.
Again, beautiful track.
Yeah.
Not very wide anymore when you look at these wider cars, which, as we noted over the last couple of decades, have gotten significantly wider in their stance.
Mm-hmm.
Makes it harder to pass. There are only a few places that you can pass on this particular course.
Right.
So he's got to figure it out. Good luck.
Yeah.
Hope you figure it out soon. Want to see Monaco back on the schedule.
Yep.
Want to see Monaco back on Memorial Day. I want that triple header. I want Monaco, Indy 500, and Coke 600 all on the same day. Make sure we get it back there, too. That's a great day.
Oh, it's a phenomenal day.
It's a fantastic day. Speaking of a great day, we're not done yet. We're done here. We're done with the radio side of things, but we're going to move over to our YouTube page. If you haven't checked it out, go to YouTube, look up CRN Live. Subscribe there, because we're about to do a fairly decently long after the show where we're going to continue talking about the news. I'm sure Matt will have a soapbox thing. Join us there. Join us then. Hope you join us next week, too, right here on the Championship Racing Network.
This has been a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.
WDNG 1450 AM and W236CQ 95.1 FM Anniston. The new 95.1.